Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is well. Y'all let me know if the audio is bad. I know YouTube been going through whatever kind of troubles they've been going through. I was on the stream earlier. I wasn't able to even see the comments. So anyway, I've been going for a while. I'm back and we're going to get into the content. And so what we want to talk about first is Pam Bondi. She has been voted to be subpoenaed by Congress. Come to find out, the Epstein files that we only saw 99% of what we thought we saw in the Epstein files. Okay. So we're going to get into that. And we'll also get into Donald Trump's, uh, basically his plan for electricity, AI. So basically, these AI operations, what they're doing right now, they're basically draining the power system, bringing the cost of power and electricity up. And AI is just taking over the world. For those that are not into computing, like myself, I'm into computing. How you doing, Hassan? For those that are into computing, you would know that the cost of DRAM has went up around the world because these AI operations are going on. Uh, how you actually get your images, the AI image you saw in the thumbnail, well, they need RAM, in particular DRAM, and GPUs and things like that are all up. It's all just high right now, all over the world, because these AI operations are taking place, so they can do deep learning to make better images, make better 3D images, movies, things like that. So the AI needs to learn. Okay, it needs to learn from us, from you, me. Anytime I go live, Google Gemini is actually watching everything I do when I go live, you know, and it's learning. And that's a fact. Google Gemini will actually tell you that if you ask it. All right, so before we get into that, we're going to talk about what's going on with Pam Bondi. So I'm going to play that. All right, real quick. And we're going to witness Congress basically acting to subpoena her to testify. And we only got 1% of the Epstein files. I think it was about 3 million files that were dropped. So we only got 1%, and it was pretty gruesome. And there's been accusations in the original Epstein files about Donald Trump allegedly doing some things by congressmen. And I'll play that as well, so you guys get that understanding. So we're going to start out kind of slow, and then we'll build up and everything like that. So let's go.
On motion number 2 from Representative Mace, this deals with Attorney General Bondi. Members will record their votes using the electronic voting system. The clerk will now open the board.
So this is what we're looking at right now, y'all.
Have all members?
So what you're witnessing is Congress. They're basically subpoenaing.
Remember,
Pam Bondi,
the Attorney General has offered to come in and give briefings.
Briefings or hearing?
Briefing. Okay. Have all members?
It's not. There's no command for her to come in, as far as I understand it. To come in.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. Hold on. My headset just went completely dark on me, so let me see. I know you guys should still be able to hear me. All right, so I can hear along with you guys. So I'm back. All right. So as you see right now, it's kind of boring. We're going to get into that hot fire that you guys love, you know what I'm saying, with news and politics with Octavius Prime. If you're liking it, make sure you hit that like button. But we're going to be here for a while. And I cover this and also do travel as well if you don't know me. All right. But let's get into it.
Regular order.
All right, so I'm going to skip ahead. So that's pretty much it. The outcome was they went ahead and subpoenaed Pam Bondi. So that's a fact. We know that she got subpoenaed. So a lot of this stuff has been building up. We got Representative Ted Lieu. Ted Lieu, he's unapologetic and everything like that. I'm more apolitical for those that don't know. Like, I call out bullshit on both sides. So, you know, I'm here for in Game of Thrones, I'm here for the realm. Okay, for the American people, period. White, black, whatever. All right. So let's get into what I'm gonna remind you guys, because this went viral. I think this video alone, people have shorts out there that did like 5 million views or something like that, or 10 million views of this one-liner alone. And we're gonna listen to it real quick. But he's a person that's privy to what's in the files, and he's been very aggravated about the fact that Pam Bondi did not release the full files and everything like that for the American people. All right. And it's funny that we have a war right now. After all these big shots, we got Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, the foreign royal, you know what I'm saying, name Prince. Oh, not Prince, but Andrew, you know what I'm saying. And so anyway, let's get into it.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage
That's what he's saying, y'all,
to go look at these allegations. And I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release.
So come to find out what they're reporting in the news, allegedly, all right? I'm a citizen reporter. Allegedly, what they're reporting in the news now is that, and I think this was a day before or the same day that the Epstein files were released, that Ted Lieu came out and said this. But come to find out, the 3 million files is only 1% of the files that we were given. So we thought we saw some heavy hitting stuff, put it that way. But come to find out, we only got 1%. We didn't even get the tip of the iceberg. All right. So on this channel, I was one of the first people to go on Twitter, get that photo of Prince Andrew, Prince Windsor, or a former Prince Windsor, whatever you want to call him. He's standing over the little girl, you know, in multiple those photos that came from Twitter. Some of those photos were almost edging upon child pornography, okay, that we saw. And you can see a lot of the girls were underage. There's a lot of stuff I didn't show you from Twitter because it was very disturbing, where Jeffrey Epstein had like preteens sitting on his lap in some of the photos that we saw. So we only got 1%, all right? So we'll see the build up on that.
A lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is
And come to find out, we only got 1%, yo.
uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all of
All right, so that's Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. So we talking about right there. So we're gonna move into the future, y'all, and we're gonna get into the hot stuff. All right. So this was 2 days ago in the news, where Representative Lieu is confronting Attorney General Pam Bondi. All right. And let's go ahead and go. All right. Oh, I turned my thing off. Wow.
oath, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing. I did not ask a question, Mr. Head. You're allowed to. I did not ask a question.
Crime in California.
I did not ask a question.
Crime in his state.
You can't just ad lib stuff. I did not ask a question.
So Ted Lieu just humiliated Pam Bondi by showing photos of Prince Andrew with an Epstein victim. He also got Bondi to admit that those photos were true, and he used them to prove she was lying in a memo.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey...
And the thing is, there's no subpoenas for it. Okay? So that happened here in the United States, right here in my county, supposedly in Palm Beach, or at the island or whatever, or at Jeffrey Epstein's island. Okay? So Jeffrey Epstein I live in West Palm Beach. Palm Beach is not too far from me. Jeffrey Epstein had a home in Palm Beach. Prince Andrew has been there multiple times. And, but these photos, they were on American soil where that happened. So, he's supposed to be a fugitive of law here in the United States, but he's not.
Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
See, this is the reason why she's being subpoenaed, because if you watched the hearing with her, she was just basically throwing red herrings the whole time, just basically saying, like, why haven't you taken care of this? Why haven't you taken care of that? She's the one there to testify, to Congress at that time. So she wasn't forthcoming. She just basically started talking about, you just like talking to your girlfriend, like, why haven't you, she messed up, all right? So you're like, okay, why haven't you did this? Okay, the kids are home, and you say you're going to cook dinner, you've been home all day, vice versa, your husband, if you're a house husband, whatever. And they coming up, well, you haven't fixed the door, okay? Meanwhile, the kids are hungry, all right? So she was doing that type of, maneuver the whole time. It was kind of like, it was just showing that she was trying to do a cover up, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
You
I've
twice.
been claiming my
Did you
time.
never
I agree
mention
with
it?
you. I agree with you. During
Were you not here
during
then?
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video.
All the
Right.
great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
Now, we heard what Representative Lieu said in a previous video, is that there were allegations, and I asked the AI about it as well. And yes, in those files, there's supposed to be some allegations of Trump doing some crazy stuff. All right. So regardless of who a person is, they're supposed to be investigated, especially when it comes to these type of allegations. Okay.
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
the
stop the
Trump
clock.
to
My time. Stop
sign
the clock.
legislation. This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to
ridiculous.
my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a
I
crime.
believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness.
Prince Andrew.
So this is Prince Andrew right here. When it first broke on Twitter, I went live. When the Epstein files were dropped on Twitter, aka the Twitter files, this is one of the photos that I personally uploaded. The raw photo, and all the news agencies, they showed this photo, and I follow the royals to a certain degree, and I said, that's Prince Andrew right there. And it looks, you see the girl, obviously her body type, it looks like she's petite. It looks like she's at least from her mid-teens to early 20s. Now we have Virginia Guthrie, who is now not with us. She committed suicide. She said that she was being sex trafficked to Prince Andrew under the orders of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So this is what's been alleged about him. The UK is taking very serious actions against him, and also very serious actions against Peter Mandelson. Okay. And both of them, I think, they have been stripped of their royal titles. I know for certain, we know that for certain that Prince Andrew has been stripped of his royal title. And he got arrested the other day. His eyes were bloodshot red, one of them. So he's under a lot of stress. And he was kicked out of the royal mansion. He had to move to some like swamp land somewhere in UK, a rundown home. And his servants no longer had the orders to serve him because he was no longer a royal. Okay. So he has had a big fall from grace. He's facing jail time, things like that. But none of that has taken place here in the United States. None of it. We don't know. Nobody has been arrested. All right. Now the sex trafficking operation was supposed to be based here in the United States, but no United States person, no U.S. citizen has been arrested, to my knowledge, outside of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And he's supposed to be this pimp of underage girls. Okay? But that's Prince Andrew right there.
Pictures showing the then Prince Andrew kneeling over and touching a female whose identity has been hidden. There's no context, location or date provided. Andrew has always denied any criminal wrongdoing, but this latest batch of files once again contains items raising serious questions of judgment.
So Virginia Guthrie, I did a live on that. Virginia Guthrie committed suicide due to, feelings of feeling unworthy, or she wrote a book called Nobody's Girl. Okay. And I think she killed herself last year. Okay. So she was very destroyed by these men that she alleged that committed these acts against her.
Not least an email exchange from 2010, long after.
All right, so we got that. I'm going to move fast. Y'all. So we covered that part. And Kristi Noem has been fired. All right. And I'm going to look at, before I get into the speech of Donald Trump, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe. All right. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. I mean, a lot of you guys are, what's going on, audio? What's going on, LeBron Parker, John? What's good? John Brewski. Okay, we got 2 Johns in the building. Dirty Jersey. Kevin Jackson. You know, and Miss D. Hassan. All right. Now, the chat, I can't see everybody in the chat because YouTube is acting up on the long form. So I won't be able to see everybody. So if you're there, just make sure you subscribe and hopefully YouTube can fix that. But I see we have almost 100 people in the chat. Appreciate you. If you're liking the content, please hit the subscribe button and like button, please. All right, so we're going to get into what Cory Booker, we already know that she's been fired. She did a speech, and I might cover that I might do an upload on that all by itself, you know, and cover that alone. All right, but I think that this speech where I went live talking about the civil rights issues that are associated with ICE. Now, ICE has a job to do, but the thing is that for a lot of people that don't know about the Constitution and Cory Booker, whether you love him or hate him, he is an accomplished lawyer and he will break down some of the violations in the Constitution. All right. So basically, ICE is almost disguised as a standing army here in the States, in particular, Minnesota. So I got to reposition this. All right, so let's get into it.
To the Constitution before you took this job, right?
Correct.
So one of the most sacrosanct ideals of our nation, enshrined in our Constitution, is freedom, is liberty.
Mm-hmm.
It is an idea that the government has a very high standard should they take away liberty.
Whether you're Republican, Libertarian, Democrat, please listen up. Because what he's saying is something I've been saying, but I'm not a Harvard lawyer. I'm not a congressman. I'm not a senator. So Mr. Booker, Senator Booker, will break down the violations of ICE. Okay? And what ICE has been doing, this is bigger than immigrants and people hate for Mexicans and Guatemalans and stuff like that. All right? And Somalians. Okay? It's bigger than that.
Liberty and freedom for an American citizen. How many U.S. citizens has DHS detained as of last October?
Senator, if you're talking about detained and arrested, is that those that have been violating and obstructing our law enforcement operations? Is that what you're referencing? Because it could be hundreds and hundreds. We have faced violent riots across the country,
you are
specifically in Portland and in Minneapolis.
The only people you've detained are committing crimes, but you and I both know that's not true.
I haven't said that. I didn't
say that.
I
how
asked
many
which ones you were
people
referencing.
Have you detained?
I can't give you an accurate number because we've literally detained and arrested many for those obstruction of law enforcement operations, and also
public
others
records,
that had probable
let me tell you
cause.
what my staff researched.
And then released
May I
yes.
continue? Public records are showing that over 170 incidents of your agency unlawfully taking away the liberties and freedoms of American citizens. This includes 20 children, 20 American kids that your agency detained. How long can your agency detain an American citizen?
We don't detain children and separate them from their parents. Those parents have chosen
You're telling me
to keep
under
their
oath
child
right now.
with
Hold on.
them.
I just want to be clear. You're telling me under oath right now that your agency has not detained American children.
Those parents have chosen to keep their children with them.
Now, that's
we don't
a lie.
separate families
So-
like the
so
Biden
hold on.
administration
Let me
did.
continue.
We keep them together, and parents have the option on if they want their child with them or not with them.
How long do detentions last when you detain an American citizen? How long do they last?
We don't detain American citizens, and if there's probable cause.
Let me give you, because you are not speaking truthfully under oath. Isaiah Pena Salcedo, a U.S. citizen living in California, was detained more than 70 hours, almost 3 days, even after he showed ICE agents his passport. My colleague, Senator Blumenthal, gave you example after example. He brought people here who had something else we Americans consider sacrosanct, our home, our property. Your masked agents jumping out of unmarked cars have broken into, considerable property damage occurring, into American citizens' homes. Case after case of this, and you sit here before me and claim the buck stops with you, but you don't even know the names of these individuals. I ran New Jersey's largest municipal police department. When my officers engaged in misconduct, you can be damn well sure I knew about it and I investigated it. And yet you have situations where your officers are violating the sanctity of people's homes, arresting and detaining them and holding their children. And you're acting as if you don't know about it and saying that under oath. Miramar Martinez, who is here right now, on her way to church, an American citizen going to church, not just to worship, but to donate clothing. Your officers shot her multiple times. The case was thrown out of court, and you represent here that you don't know about it. In New Jersey, are you aware of your officers' activities in places like schools? Are you aware of your officers' activities at our public schools?
Sir, we don't go into schools and do targeted.
Christine, like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, I'm just getting that check, baby. And getting online and going live, you know what I'm saying, getting on the stage and looking pretty, okay?
Law enforcement operations. We do targeted law enforcement operations like other agencies
So you're
and law
telling me that
enforcement
ICE officers entered the grounds of a high school in Minneapolis? That's a fact. Elementary school children in New Jersey are terrified of your agents. When they came upon a school bus stop, they fled. Another school, a higher education, Columbia University, your agents reportedly lied to students, told them they were searching for a missing person to gain access to private spaces, to non-public areas of campus. Secretary Noem, these are kids. They're terrified in our communities. How do you think that affects them when children in my state go running, fleeing, and often you all pursue children, throwing them to the ground, getting on their backs, putting them in handcuffs?
For those that don't know about ICE agents, all you have to do is basically pass like a fitness test and a background clearance or whatever. And the training is 47 days to become an ICE officer.
I want to talk to you about this incredible empire of for-profit companies that are profiting at rates we've never seen, and the way you're using money. Let's drill down on the warehouses that DHS has been buying over the last several months, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars.
Don't worry, Rockers. We're going to move on after
the
this.
Acquisition of a warehouse DHS recently bought in Roxbury Township, New Jersey.
Yes.
You are familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she got fired and she gave her resignation speech.
$129.3 million.
And I'll do an upload on that.
Do you know how much it was assessed for in New Jersey?
Sir, we're purchasing centers across the country to build efficiency into our detention system.
Efficiency to
so that
me,
we
as
can,
a person who's run tight budgets before and had taxpayer dollars, you paid $129.3 million for a facility in my state that was assessed at less than half of that, at $62 million. To work for a president that says he's a great deal maker, I can't believe he thinks that you're a great deal maker. But what's worse than that is that the Roxbury Township Council, comprised entirely of Republicans, voted unanimously early this year to oppose that facility. My office tried to facilitate a meeting between DHS and local officials so that ICE could hear their concerns, yet DHS did not even respond. That is unacceptable, that you all would enter a town, you wouldn't even follow environmental reviews or have conversations with local officials about the resources, from emergency resources to fire resources and more, that you're going to pull down. You didn't even have a conversation. Secretary Noem, do you comply with court orders?
yes, we do comply
Your
with
agency
court
complies
orders.
with court orders.
Yes, we comply with federal court
you were
orders.
saying under oath that you do, and yet we know in January the chief judge, Republican appointed for the Federal District of Minnesota, found that ICE had violated nearly 100 court orders since January 1st alone. In my state of New Jersey, last month, the chief of staff to Deputy Attorney General admitted in my state that in the New Jersey District Court that the government had violated 52 separate court orders, all involving cases where immigrants successfully challenged the legality of their detention. So this again is a constitution that you swore an oath to, and one of the most important ideals is that no one is above the law. You are violating the separation of powers, violating court orders, and routinely violating the civil rights of Americans. This is a reckless and out-of-control agency that you are responsible for. You seem to have no situational awareness whatsoever of some of the most egregious examples of Americans being completely attacked, violated, undermined in accordance with our laws by their own government. And this is what is phenomenal to me, is immigration was your president's #1 issue, overwhelmingly popular with the American people. But now it's overwhelmingly unpopular. And it's not because you are deporting dangerous people that everybody here wants out of our country. No, it's because you're going into our schools. You're terrorizing our children. You're detaining children. You're arresting Americans. You're breaking into our homes. You're terrorizing our streets. You're violating our rights to peacefully protest again and again and again.
None of
and then
that
when
is
a court
true.
tells you
None
to
of
stop,
that is true.
and then when a court
You are
tells you
trying
to stop,
to impede
you
us
violate
from enforcing
judges'
the law.
Alex Peretti is dead. Okay, he was a protester. Okay, so it is true.
Not
and
in a
getting
part-
You impeded someone's life.
dangerous
way,
criminals off of our streets
Republican-appointed and
so we don't have
Democratic
more
appointed.
families like the ones that are
Don't
sitting
sit
behind
there
me.
and tell me that
Lost
you are
their children. They're
responsible
gone forever.
for the running of your agency when you're not even aware. Either you are utterly incompetent or you are violating laws with impunity.
And this one of the speeches that actually, because she did look like a deer in the headlights with him questioning her. It's like she was oblivious to a lot of this stuff that he was talking about. Okay, because she could have stopped him and said, no, this, no, that, no, this, no, that. She didn't really do any of that. She just got basically read down. Okay, she got read down by Cory Booker. You know, and Cory Booker, you know, he told that ass up. Like, we're just gonna say that. Okay. All right, so we're moving on from that. So basically, she got fired. Okay, she got fired. She got fired, and now we're gonna move into some of the stuff with the war, and basically Elizabeth Warren and
Israeli.
Elizabeth Warren, and then I'll get into the Trump speech. And we're going to sit here we're going to finish that. It's about like an hour. So we're going to finish that. So I'll probably be here another hour and 20 minutes. All right. But Warren calls for Congress to block reckless war in Iran. And so I was looking up the video. I was trying to get that video of a lot of Americans are trapped in Dubai right now. All right. A lot of Americans are trapped in Dubai, you know, and there were some pretty girls, you know, that were over there. And we all know about whether they white or black. There's a lot of bias and whatever. A lot of people are feeling some kind of way. But a lot of cute girls are over there literally dodging missiles in Dubai right now. Okay. They're dodging missiles. Explosions are happening while they're in their Dubai resort or whatever. And they're trapped there. American citizens are trapped in Dubai right now. And it is crazy. Okay. So for those that we see MAGA forever, Dan, you know, Dan, MAGA forever. I'm apolitical. All right. But we're going to hear what Trump got to say about the war and things like that later on, right after this. But we're going to hear from the Democratic point of view about, you know, what they got to say. So these are the heavy hitters. These are senators. So I presented it to you, Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren. All right.
To our nation. 6 U.S. service members are now dead and more badly hurt. A missile from the U.S. and Israeli-led bombing campaign reportedly killed over 150 people at a girls' school in Iran, many of them little girls, some as young as 7 years old. And now violence is spreading across the Middle East, with the threat of that violence bleeding into the United States. And for what? For another forever war that the American people do not want? Our Constitution is clear. Only Congress can declare war. That is because one single person should not have the power to drag our entire country into a reckless war. But that is exactly what Donald Trump has done. He has given prepared remarks. He has spoken to the press. And yet, even after multiple bombing runs and the death of American service members, Donald Trump cannot give a single clear reason for this war. Why are we at war? Donald Trump has dozens of reasons and ultimately no reason.
Israel.
Yet, Donald Trump is dragging Americans into this war with no...
And I ain't got no hate for no Jewish people, but
Israel.
Israel.
He has no stated objectives, no clear strategies, no way to explain when we accomplish this, we will leave. Even the deaths of Americans has not given Donald Trump pause. Instead, he doubles down. Every hour, the Trump administration feeds us shifting justifications for this war. Every hour, he contradicts a justification that he used earlier. Donald Trump said that Iran has restarted its nuclear program. But Donald Trump's own officials have said that is not true. Donald Trump claimed that Iran is developing long-range missiles that will soon be capable of hitting the United States. That directly goes against what his own government has claimed. As recently as January, the Trump administration said they would not engage in any regime change wars. And now they are calling on the American people the Iranian people to rise up and change their regime. Khamenei was an authoritarian dictator who has the blood of Americans.
He said Khamenei, Ayatollah Khamenei. All right. For FYI, you see my eyes kind of bugging. That's the NVIDIA Studio that's making me look directly in the camera sometimes when I'm looking away reading things. So that's the AI with my eyes, guys. So just FYI.
On his hands. But killing one leader does not topple a brutal regime. The next leader could be just as bad or even worse. And Donald Trump's deceptions keep right on coming. In June of last year, Trump bombed Iran and claimed that Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities had been, quote, completely and totally obliterated. Completely and totally obliterated. And now Trump is telling the American people that he had to attack Iran on Saturday because Iran posed an imminent threat based on their nuclear capabilities. Both of those things cannot be true. If Donald Trump believes that Iran's nuclear ambitions are a threat, he had the chance to curb them. In fact, the United States had a deal.
You know, Bush did that same thing. Remember the yellow cake? Remember Colin Powell talked about the yellow cake and it was developing uranium in Iraq and all that? All right.
That would have prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That was President Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. And Trump ripped up that deal and got nothing in return. Instead of doing the hard work of diplomacy to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, Trump is lying to Americans while dragging us into yet another reckless war that is costing American lives. Already, 6 U.S. service members have been killed and others have been seriously hurt in these attacks. My heart is with these service members and their loved ones. But Trump just doesn't seem to care. In fact, he said he's not ruling out sending U.S. ground troops into Iran. He even said that while every president says, quote, there will be no boots on the ground, he doesn't say it. He's proud of the fact that he's willing to put American lives at risk for this war of his own choosing. It is truly horrific. The ripple effects of this violence are even broader. Protesters in countries across the world are storming U.S. embassies and threatening the lives of State Department officials. American citizens living in the region are now in the middle of a war zone, in danger and unsure if they can make it home safe.
I wanted to get the original, so I'm going to do a short with the original girl, one of the few girls that went viral on TikTok. I'm going to react to that in a short so you guys can see it. So there are a lot of people stuck in some of these countries that went there on vacation, all right?
Safely. And the violence is spreading. Iran has attacked at least 9 countries since the Trump administration and Israel started this war on Saturday, putting more American service members and more American civilians abroad at risk and threatening to destabilize the entire region. I disagree with Donald Trump, but I understand that he won the 2024 election. But when he ran in 2024, he said repeatedly that he would be a peace president. He ran on a platform of no more wars. He said he would be a president to stop wars, not start them. And Americans believed him. But now we face an ugly reality. In the modern era, no American president has ordered more military strikes against as many different countries as Donald Trump. None.
Now, I didn't know that.
Donald Trump's disregard for human life seems to have no bounds. I want to make one more point here, and it's about something that's very personal to me. All 3 of my brothers served in the military. My oldest brother served off and on in Vietnam for 6 years, running 266 combat missions. I remember the fear our family felt with every late-night phone call or official-looking letter. Could my brother be hurt? Could he be dead? It is still hard to find the words to describe the pain that we put American families through when we ship a generation off to war. Mamas are worried sick that their sons or daughters will not make it home. A new generation of veterans will have to live with the horrors of war, live with the trauma of witnessing innocent victims of war take their final breaths, live with their own injuries and prolonged recoveries. The people who will be asked to sacrifice their lives are the American people. It won't be Donald Trump. It won't be Pete Hegseth. It will be our sons and daughters, our nieces and nephews, our grandchildren. Trump is right to note that people die in war. That happens as surely as night follows day. And that means that the leaders who send young people to die must take the consequences of this conflict with the seriousness it deserves, with life and death seriousness. Instead, Trump and his team seem to be treating war with Iran like a game, as if Commander-in-Chief was a costume and Secretary of War is a fun pretend title, and the lives lost are just numbers on a board with the title.
That's the risk you run when you put an aristocrat in office. You know, they barely have any contact with the common people, right? You know, it's just part of their psychology.
Operation Epic Fury. 48 hours after he started this war, Trump finally addressed the American people and took questions. He spoke to the people who are worried sick about what this war
How you doing,
means
Annie?
for them
How you doing, Travis
and what
Murphy?
it means for the people they love. Instead of offering a plan, however, he talked about renovations to his gold-encrusted ballroom. It is sickening, and it is time for this Congress to make him stop. Here's what we need. First, Donald Trump started this war illegally without the consent of Congress, and he cannot be allowed to continue it.
And for all you MAGA and Trump supporters out there, she's going to tell you, okay, we just going to listen to the Democrat, hear that side, and then we'll have Papa Trump up here in a minute now. So just bear with me a little bit. Hit the like button and subscribe.
There is too much at stake. Every single senator must support Senator Kane's War Powers resolution to block this reckless war. This isn't about politics. This is about life and death for young Americans who will be called on to serve and for civilians who will end up in harm's way. Second, the U.S. must investigate the bombing of an elementary school in Iran. Israel claims it was not aware of any operations in the area by their own IDF, and that raises the question of whether it was a U.S. strike and how that happened. The U.S. Military Central Command has said that it needs to look into the incident.
There will be no investigations of that school bombing, in my opinion. In my opinion.
We regularly do following a catastrophe of this size with the possible involvement of the U.S. military. We must find out what happened and hold those responsible to account. And third, we need to hold accountable every single Trump administration official who lied to the American people about this unconstitutional war. People have a right to the truth from their government, and nowhere, at no time, is that more crucial than in the life and death decisions surrounding the decision to go to war. We must hold our elected officials accountable if they don't level with the people who will be sent.
And for you Jeffrey Epstein followers, because I have a lot of y'all here, and that's into that content, I just want to let you know there's also a conspiracy that this war was started based off a distraction to the American people. Now, we just found out that Pam Bondi only released 1%, allegedly, of the Epstein files, and now she's under subpoena. So the Congress just voted to subpoena her, and they pretty much want all the files out there. You know, like, would that happen? We don't know, but let's get into, you know, Trump. We got Trump here, and we're going to look at his speech, and it's about an hour long. We're going to be here for the long run. We're going to finish that out, and I'll let you guys be the judge of it. So basically what he's talking about, so AI is taking over. So for those that weren't here earlier, AI is taking over. As you can see, my eyes, let me show you guys. So AI is taking over. So even when I talk to you guys, it's me, but my eyes are not mine. These are AI eyes right here. Okay. And I'm using a 3090 GPU. Okay. So let me show you guys. Noise removal. Okay. All right. So I turned it off right now. So these are my real eyes. So when I turn it back on, it's going to give you automatic contact whether or not I'm reading. So if I can look away, whatever. All right. So AI is taking over. It's a big thing for content creation, engineering, science, all of that. All right. So we're going to get into Trump.
Well, thank you very much.
But the whole key to it is that everyone is using AI. All the businesses are using AI, and there's a shortage of RAM in the world. So I think NVIDIA and a few other companies like AMD, they announced to gamers and other people that use graphics cards like myself that they won't be releasing the next version of NVIDIA graphics cards. I think it's a 2028. All right. So it's a shortage. And all these powerful companies that have money, they're using AI. It's the thing. We use Grok, Google Gemini. We use, you name it, we're using it. Okay. Grok, Google Gemini. And also people like me, I use an LLM as well. So it's a shortage right now. And a lot of these companies, they are all over the place. Here in West Palm Beach, we just had an AI operation. It's going to open up in 2027 here in the Nord area. And I might be working there at some point, so I'll probably be working there at some point myself, at that particular plant that they're setting up, because I'm taking a training myself to do that. All right. So what Trump is announcing is that they will have the right to create their own power company, basically create their own power company, because it is bringing up the cost of power here in the States. And in Europe, in some places, they actually use the AI operations to heat parts of Netherlands, the cold areas. So the heat, it does produce heat, and they're actually using these vents from all the heat that they use, that the AI makes from all the AI DRAM, RAM operations. That's heat. So it produces a lot of heat, basically. And it moves around. So they basically found a way to use that as a way to bring down the price of heat in Northern Europe, right? So what you're going to hear is Trump talk about the energy issues when it comes down to AI.
Very much. These are exciting times. I think you probably want to speak about war rather than this, but this is very important. This is very important, and we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And that was a tremendous threat to us for many years. 47 years they've been killing our people and killing people from all over the world. And I think we have great support. And I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible. And if we didn't terminate the worst deal, one of the worst deals ever made, the Obama nuclear deal, I call it the Obama nuclear deal, where he gave everything to Iran, including a nuclear weapon. It was a road to a nuclear weapon. Bad things would have happened 4 years ago, because they would have had a weapon 4 years ago if I didn't terminate that deal. So we're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And it's an amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes, because for 47 years we were pushed around, and we shouldn't have been. And I think I can say, and you see it as well as I do, you see the tremendous progress that's being made. Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launchers are being wiped out. They're attacking their neighbors. They're attacking their, in some cases, allies, or not so long ago allies. And, it's really a nation that was out of control, and they would have used it on us if we let them, if we waited any longer. A big factor was Soleimani, the killing of Soleimani in my first term. And maybe the biggest factor was the rebuilding of the military in my first term. And then the B-2s hit the, and I use the word obliterate because it was a complete obliteration of their nuclear potential. And that set them back very, very seriously. If we didn't hit within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. If we didn't do the B-2 attack a number of months ago, they would have a nuclear weapon. And when crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen. So we're in very good shape now. I want to let you know that, and we will continue forward. But it's a great display of military strength, and I'm very proud to have, with some of the people in the room, both senators and congressmen, we rebuilt, and women, we rebuilt our military during the first term, and we're using it a little bit more than I thought we would have to. Venezuela worked out really great. We have a wonderful relationship with the president and the various representatives, and we're taking out hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, and that goes to our benefit and to Venezuela's benefit. They'll be doing better than they've ever done before, and we will get a big piece of that, and we'll also make life wonderful for the people of Venezuela who have been very, very badly hit. So that's a lot said in a short period of time, but you can witness it for yourself. And now we'll get on to something that I'm very proud of, because it was sort of my idea, like
Very much so.
Build your own power plant. And everybody thought I was kidding. They said, really, you can do that? How would you do that? I said, we'll get you fast permits, and you'll build your own plants, but we're going to discuss it in great detail with the biggest people in the industry and some of our great leaders and senators. And congratulations on the Medal of Honor for your 100-year soldier. You know, 100 years old, 101 to be exact. And Daryl's been fighting that he get the Congressional Medal of Honor for many years, Daryl, right?
Mr. President, I give you all the credit for overcoming the lawyers in the Department of the Navy in a way that I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And
well,
nobody could have done it but you.
Maybe it'll be a long. We had to get it to him a little bit quickly, but he looks like he's in good shape. He's got some years left, right?
He's planning to come back here for your next Medal of Honor ceremony, and he's also going to be the star at Tailhook this summer if you want to come to Reno.
Well, I congratulate you for that success. That was amazing. He didn't stop. I've known him a long time. He never stops. So congratulations. It's very nice. We're here this afternoon for a historic signing that will help keep down utility bills very, very substantially, and electricity prices for millions of Americans, and in many cases for a lot of people that don't really understand why they're going up, but they're not going to be going up. They're going to be actually going down. Today we follow through on an announcement I made in my State of the Union address last week, as America's largest tech companies officially signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. It's a big deal. It's going to have a tremendous impact on electricity costs. We're bringing down all of the costs. We're having this little interlude to do what we have to do, because we had it going. But these interludes are very important, especially this one. But
so basically, the government is still an AI to get off our grid, our power grid. So for those that don't know,
the economy has never been like this. We broke 50,000 on the Dow. People thought we wouldn't do that within the first 4 years. We did it in the first year. And we brought 7 on the S&P, 7,000 on the S&P. They said that's even less likely to happen. And we did that too, all within the first year. Under this new agreement, big tech companies are committing to fully cover the cost of increased electricity production required for AI data centers. And that would be prices for American communities will not go up, but in many cases will actually come down, and very substantially. Because, you know, the data centers, and you people are so big, you're the biggest in the world, but they've developed a little bit of a bad public, they need some PR help. because people think that if a data center goes in, their electricity prices are going to go up, and that's not happening. It's not going to happen. And for the areas where it did happen, it won't happen anymore because they never had this alternative. It's actually going to mean the prices come down. You're going to see how badly they want. Some centers were rejected by communities for that, and now I think it's going to be just the opposite. This means that the tech companies and the data centers will be able to get the electricity they need, all without driving up electricity costs for consumers. This is a historic win for countless American families and will also make our electricity grid stronger and more resilient than ever before, so that's part of it. It's going to be strengthened up, and they're going to be getting a lot of excess electricity from the data centers where they build their own plants. They're going to be creating their own electricity. We're pleased to be joined today by Speaker Mike Johnson, who's got a difficult job, but he does it as easy as anybody I've ever seen do that job. It's never easy when you have a majority of 2, or sometimes less. I was going to say, sometimes less, but he's amazing. And Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who's worked so hard, and Senators Katie Britt, Bernie Moreno, John Husted. Thank you, everybody.
Daily chaos keeps focus off
Representative
Epstein
Darrell
files.
Ison, Derek Van Orden. Thank you
Right.
both. And Derek, thank you. Nice to see you. OSTP Director Michael Kratsios, AI and crypto czar David Sachs, as well as the commissioners of the Federal Energy Regulation and Regulatory Commission, and an audience. In the audience, you have Laura Sweat, David Rosner, Lindsay C., and Judy Chang, all very well-known people, especially in this group of geniuses. We have a lot of geniuses here, and a lot of geniuses that are also very strong people representing labor. We love labor. We love these guys. I also want to recognize the industry leaders here to sign the pledge, and this is a pledge that's going to be a very important pledge to the country and to their companies also. They benefit also very substantially, including President of Google, Ruth Porat. That's a good company. That's big stuff. Google, that's, it used to be U.S. Steel and things like that. Now it's Google and other places. President of Meta, Dina Powell, who was with me. Dina Powell was with me for a long time, and I called up Mark and I said, congratulations, that was a good hire, right? That was a good hire. She's fantastic, and her husband is fantastic. He's a great senator, and he ran in a place called Pennsylvania, and he ran against somebody that was very tough to win. It was very, very tough to win, and he won pretty easily, actually. People were shocked. I wasn't, you and I weren't surprised, were we? But he's a spectacular man. President of Microsoft, Brad Smith. Thank you, Brad. It's good to see you. Microsoft is unbelievable. COO of OpenAI, Brad Lightcap.
ChatGPT.
Brad, where are you, Brad?
Microsoft is
Brad,
Copilot.
so young.
Google is Gemini.
Yeah, I think you have to be young in that world, perhaps. Thank you, Brad. CEO of Amazon Web Services, Matt Garman. Matt, thank you, Matt. Very well. Say hello to my friend, right? Doing a good job. CEO of Oracle, Clay Moosquark. Moosquark. Is that fairly good? I don't know. I'm not sure. I usually don't, I just go right over it and I say, Moothquark. But how are you? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I give you a hard job. It's a hard name. You did good. You did well for the difficulty of that name.
That's right. I think so. Thank you very much. And Gwen Shortwell of XAI, another real
That's
leader.
Grok.
Thank you very much.
So that's Twitter.
Thank you very much.
Elon Musk.
Appreciate it.
Grok.
Say hello, right? To a special person. The last administration, their allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in, I say, the history of our country, but they say 48 years. So I'll take either one. It doesn't matter. The press gets very upset when I say in the history of our country. They get very angry about it, actually. They say it was only 48 years. I say, in some ways 48 years sounds worse. because it's very specific. But it sounds a little worse. But either way, take either one. And the ruinous energy policies were a big reason why many working families' utility bills increased more than 30% during the Biden administration, the worst administration in the history of our country. That's why on day one,
Listen, I gotta say, gas is looking a lot better, but it is going up. All right, it's gonna go up in my belief because of the war. So, yeah, Biden. We was going to the gas. Like I live here in Florida, it was like $5 a gallon. All right, so it has come down $2. So I give them credit for that. Now groceries is still high. They got to work on it.
Declared a national energy emergency. We had no choice but to do that, and signed an executive order to dramatically accelerate construction.
Let me just give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Travis Murphy, I spoke to you. I'm smart. I like you, brother. Dave, what's good? Denise, what's good? Who else we got here? Charlie Boy, what's good? You know, y'all more than welcome to speak your speech. You know, whether you Democrat or Republican, I don't care. I'm apolitical. All right. We're just here to call out bullshit.
Of new energy infrastructure, which we are doing at record numbers, and we're rapidly bringing down those costs, very rapidly. We inherited a mess. I say it all the time. We inherited a total mess, and in many cases we've fixed it, but we're fixing it, and we'll always be fixing it. We're going to make it better and better and better. Many Americans are still concerned that the massive energy demand from AI data centers could drive up their electricity bills in the future, and we understand that. By 2035, energy demand is expected to more than triple. Can you believe it? A lot of it is AI, and it's also all these big plants that are being built all over the country. They're coming in from Canada and Mexico, from Germany, from Japan, from South Korea. They're all coming here to build cars again. You know, we lost 54% of our car industry because we had presidents that, honestly, on trade and business, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. I could say the same thing for the chip industry. We lost the chip industry, but it's all coming back. You could have stopped it so easy. All you would have had to do is put a charge or a tariff on. If you wanted to leave the United States, that's fine. You can go to Taiwan or anywhere you want. But if you're going to make your product and sell it back in here, you're going to pay 100% or 200 or 300% tariff. And nobody would have ever left, but they missed that opportunity. But it's not going to matter now because it's all coming. They're all coming back. By 2035, energy demand is expected to more than triple. Under the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, we're signing today, the big tech companies are making 5 important commitments to keep utility prices down for American consumers. First, these companies are committing to provide or pay for all power generation and electricity needed for their AI projects, which is massive. And where possible, they'll add capacity to the grid by building.
So, guys, they ran out of DRAM. So if you go look for DRAM to build a computer or replace the RAM in your computer, especially DDR5, it's like for 4 sticks, like 64 gigs, it's almost like $800 to $1,000 right now. That's how much they are just focusing on AI right now. It's these big companies. So if you're building a gaming PC like I have, is extremely expensive right now.
Building new power stations, so they're going to be making their own electricity. They're not going to be taking from the grid, and they will actually probably, based on what I'm seeing, they're building overcapacity, and they'll be able to sell that overcapacity at very low prices into the grid. In addition to that, we're fixing the grid. Now, if we didn't do this, this was, I believe, I don't know, nobody's going to challenge you, won't challenge me. I think this was my idea. I said, wait a minute, we can't, when I first got involved with AI, they said, we will need triple the energy. Think of this, triple the energy of what we have now. Some people said double. I said, whether it's double or triple, that's crazy. And that was just for AI. It is incredible. And when you see the buildings we're talking about, you start to understand it. But unless you saw it, buildings that go for miles, buildings that are so big, buildings that cost $60 billion.
So they just built a $1 billion facility. They're still working on it right here in West Palm Beach. That is for AI alone. All right. and it's near the railroads. So I think what they're doing, they're building a lot of these facilities for some reason near railroad areas, industrial areas. So they're taking over a lot of industrial areas where you would go to get your car fixed back in the 90s and early 2000s.
I said, you mean $60 million when I first got involved. They said, we're building a $60 billion building. I said, you mean 60 million? 60 million is a big building. It's not that big, but it's pretty big nowadays. They said, no, sir, we're going to spend 60 billion, but now it's like 100 billion and 150 billion. And the bottom line, it takes electricity like nobody's ever seen before. And I said, well, with an old grid, even if we fix it really well, which we're in the process of doing, you can't take that and double our electricity. They're going to have to build it themselves. And I told Mark, I actually told Mark, I told Elon, I told people, and nobody believed me. They said, you're going to let us build our own electricity? Because they've been so used to being beaten down and to have people with no ideas how to solve problems, and then the whole thing fails. It's a whole disaster. They said, no, I'm serious. And in one case, they submitted plans, and they didn't do what I told them. And when I called them, I said, why don't you have your plant here? We thought you were kidding. Are you serious? You really? They couldn't believe it, in a good way. They said, it's too good to be true. And I said, no, it's not. And here's the other thing. You'll have your approvals within 2, 3, or 4 weeks. It used to take 20 years to get it prior to rejection. So in other words, you go 20 years prior to rejection. They'd vote. I've known many plants where they've been, I knew people, they started off young. They were young trying to get approvals for a stupid plant, one plant. Their whole life was devoted to getting this plant. And around 22 years, in one case, 22 years later, he got rejected. I said, that's not good. He wasted, let's say, half of his working life on getting an approval, and he didn't get, now we get it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. When I came in originally in my first term, we had 2 big LNG plants in Louisiana. They were in the 14th year of getting approvals, and they had just been rejected. And I got involved. They were tremendous plants. They're up now. They're working beautifully. They built the 3rd one. They're magnificent. I mean, if you like pipes, this is a plant. The whole thing is, you look inside, all it is pipes. I've never seen anything quite like it. It's like lying 2 or 3 Empire State Buildings on their side and doing nothing but putting pipes into it. So I didn't know exactly what it represented. All I knew is this is what they needed. So I got involved. The first one I got done in 1 day. The second one, I was a little bit slower that week, and it took me 1 week. So I got the first one done in 1 day, got fully approved. And when they called up the head, and I didn't want anything. I don't want anything for myself. I want it for the country. When they called up the head of a company like a Microsoft or like any one of the people in this room, but they called up the heads, they said, no, we got rejected. No, you just got approved. It was 1 day and 1 week, and they were built, and they're in your state, by the way, right? Yes, and they are big. Yes, they are. And they're doing great. Lots of pipes. And there are lots of pipes, right? That's all I noticed. I said, I've never seen anything like that. Anyway, so for these companies committing to provide or pay for all power generation electricity needed for their AI projects, where possible, they will add capacity to the grid. They're going to be adding a lot of capacity, and I think it's going to be really, and I've seen some power plants. I'm actually more interested in the power plant than I am in information. I said, where do you make the money for this? They said, information. I said, okay, that's good. That's got to be a lot of information, though, right? And it's turning out to be true. David, it better be true, because you got a big bet this country.
All right, so they talk about information. I know y'all loving Trump, all right? But the information, the AI right now, Google Gemini is learning from you chatting in the audience, me doing the live stream, how I move, how I look, all the videos I have. Google Gemini is doing algorithms based off how I look, how I'm talking. So AI is everywhere. So it's processing information 24/7. So that is the reason why it needs so much power. All right. Sometimes it's doing it in real time.
There's a big bet on it, but it's incredible what they're doing and what they're coming up with. Second, they'll cover the costs of upgrading existing power delivery infrastructure and their energy demand as it requires further investment. So they'll be upgrading existing power delivery infrastructure. They will, third, negotiate separate rate structures with utilities to clearly and cleanly assign them to the costs of new capacity investments and commit to paying even if they do not end up using all of that electricity. They're going to make a commitment. So we're going to have a situation where you're not going to have increased electric bills for homes that are in the area or even outside of the area. And fourth, they'll invest in the local communities where they build and operate, provide workforce development and jobs for skilled Americans like those with us today. We have great skilled people, electricians, engineers, HVAC technicians, server and network technicians, power plant workers, plumbers, welders, and many others, all people that I've hired. All my life I've been hiring you guys, and you've done a great job. I built a lot of buildings, a lot of good ones. And finally, they will use their infrastructure to contribute backup power to local grids during times of need. So they're going to have a lot of backup power. We're going to have a lot of excess. Basically, we're building massive amounts of electricity, and you're not paying for it at all. And the companies want to do it because this way they can, otherwise they couldn't build. I mean, the option really was not about cost. It was about there's no way of possibly taking the old grid and doubling it in a matter of months or years. So in short, America's largest and richest tech companies will be funding a colossal expansion of U.S. energy. We'll have, I read where China is building tremendous energy. I know, you got to respect it. But we're building similar amounts. We're building what we need, and we're building it through the private sector. We're building it through great companies. And I've seen some of the plants that these geniuses, they are real geniuses, are showing. And I say, wow, that's really great. You're really doing things in terms of technology with electricity that, frankly, the standard, wonderful power companies probably aren't going to be getting there. Maybe as you build them, they'll be start. But some of the plants that I've seen, Dina, are absolutely unbelievable. So they're going to be producing massive amounts of electricity and energy. The grid, so the American consumers aren't going to have to even think about it, and your electric costs are going to be going down. Now, unfortunately, it'll take a little time to get there, so they'll say, well, you know, I don't know who's going to follow me, but whoever is going to follow me is going to have some big advantage. You know, it happened with Biden where we got a lot of approvals for things, but they take statutorily a year or 2 years. And I got one on medicine that was good, not as good as favored nations, which we just got. That's 80 and 90% drops, okay? Nobody's going to believe it. But I got one on various medicines, and it was good, but it doesn't kick in for 2 years. I said, I hope I win this election because I'm going to get so much credit. And the election was rigged and stolen. And he stood up there one day getting credit. He didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. He got the credit. He was talking about how he did this, and he had no idea what he was talking about, but we were the ones that got it. And I hate that. So this is going to happen again because somebody's going to be getting a lot of credit into the future. But this is really the pretty current future. This is going to go very quickly. This is going to happen almost immediately. The United States is leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China. We're leading everybody by a lot. Without this, you wouldn't even, I don't think you could build, Brad, you couldn't build a plant. Right? Without this, I don't think you could, you'd have to rely on the grid, and you wouldn't be able to do that. So the United States is leading by a lot. We're leading everybody. And it's not only, other countries are very much into it. They all want it. But we're going to be dominant in this field, which is very important. In crypto, we want to be dominant. We want to be dominant in everything we do. And this agreement will ensure that America can maintain the most advanced AI infrastructure on the planet without American families being forced to pick up the tab. And that's why the early ones, they hook up to the electric utilities and they can't produce the kind of numbers electric-wise that they want, and they end up raising the rates. It's not going to happen anymore, and now it's going to go the opposite way. They'll make a lot of money, and electric rates, we actually think they're not going to stay. I think they're going to actually, Chris, they're going to actually come down. electric, so your electric bills will actually come down. It'll take a little while, but not long. So this new strategy, never tried before in any country, will pave the way for continued American dominance in energy and technology working together. So you're going to have great energy sources because you're going to build them yourself, and if they're not good, you'll make them a little bit bigger and better, right? But again, a lot of people, it took me 6 months to convince people that I was serious about this, and we have a very big key to what we're doing is Lee Zeldin. He's in charge of the Environmental Department and Energy. And
I just want to take a break real quick, guys. Make sure you hit the like button, double tap your stream if you're on your cell phone. Subscribe to the channel. That's all I'm asking from you guys. Majority of you guys are men. You got women here as well. But hit that like button, guys. All right? Don't be a communist all your life. Hit that like button, please.
And the job he's done is incredible, getting you fast approvals. So some of the plants are starting and they're coming in. I say, Lee, 2 weeks for natural gas. Don't worry about wind. Forget it. It's worthless. You don't get approvals for wind. We don't do wind in this because it's a loser. Except for China, they make all the windmills. You know, China makes all the windmills. The only problem is they don't have wind farms. You ever think somebody's going to have to look at that? How many wind farms have you seen lately in China? They make the windmills. They sell them to the suckers over in Europe. Europe is buying them by the thousands. And I told them for 3 years, this is not going to work out well. And now they're saying I was right. But we are, I say, natural gas, clean, beautiful coal. You know, we don't ever say in the Trump administration you're not allowed to use the word coal unless you precede it by saying clean, beautiful. And Chris made a beautiful speech about 3 weeks ago, and he took me very, very seriously. And every time it was about coal, and every time he mentioned coal, it'd say, clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful. I said, Chris, easy. It sort of stepped in the speech a little bit. It was a little much, but we got the point across. That coal is clean and beautiful. Well, look, it's so many of the nations that are working are using coal, and you can do things with coal today that are incredible in terms of the environment and in terms of cleanliness. But I said 2 weeks for oil and gas, coal, and for nuclear power plant, maybe take 2 or 3 weeks. You can add on an extra week. But Lee Zeldin has done an amazing job in getting you all of the permits that you need, because normally that would take many, many years, and they're already building the plants. They're being built all over the country, and they are incredible. So with that, I'll introduce Chris Wright, who's we were lucky to get him. Doug Burgum convinced me he was the best guy. I wanted Doug Burgum for his position. And because I'm very impressed with Doug, he's doing a fantastic job. He said, there's somebody that's better than me on energy. I said, a guy named Chris Wright. He said, biggest in the industry.
How you doing, Levi? John,
said, really?
Real American.
Doug has a very
Trump,
big ego. So
just like us.
For him to say that
traveling man
was not easy, but I met Chris.
Bill, what's good?
And it was sort of love at first sight. He has done so.
Mike Brown was good.
And so is Doug. We gave him interior where they have all the oil, and we gave him energy where they take it, right? So we sort of did a friendly merger without going through Congress, because if we went through Congress, it would never get done unless the Speaker wanted to get it done, in which case it would be all right. So, Kristi, you could say a few words first.
You bet. First of all, thank you all for being here today. The reason we're here and the things that are going to happen are because of the people in this room. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Very early on, I mean, first week, I'm in my new job. I haven't had a boss in 40 years, and I'm in the Oval Office adjusting to this, and the President says to me 2 things very clearly. He says, number one, we have to lead in AI. We have to lead. This is a transformative technology. America must lead in AI, and the old energy policies that were going on would...
Before you go on, sometimes I do AI imaging and also create AI videos as well. So the Chinese will release free AI to the Americans so that people like me can use it for free instead of going to ChatGPT to create images or do whatever. So they're committing acts basically in the AI world of war with one another. And this is how China is competing with the United States. So just want to let you guys know that. So there's a fight going on globally for AI.
Not lead in AI. We need to lead in AI. Number two, the government's a bureaucracy. It's always in the way of things. It's been in the way of AI. We've got to run the government like a business. The businesses who want to invest are our partners and get them here right away, and we've got to work with those partners. And boy, we have 7 incredible leaders in the room today. We're going to win in AI, and we're going to stop the rise in electricity prices because of the 7 leaders that are sitting around this table. The president said you're going to work with them like business leaders. Ultimately, this is not a negotiation where one side wins and one side loses. We have the same interests. The interest of the businesses is to be embraced by the communities so they can build and develop data centers in their communities. Those data centers that are developed there are going to bring jobs and opportunities for people. They're going to have us lead in artificial intelligence, critical for our economy, critical for our national defense, and critical for our security. The nation that leads in AI will be the military superpower. That has been and must remain the United States of America. But this is a pivot and this is a transformation. And it's the bold leadership of the president and the bold long-term vision of the business leaders that I am very proud to call partners and friends around this table that have invested that money, that have developed those technologies, that are willing to invest those dollars, and are also willing to fix the biggest problem. We had 30% electricity price rises during the Biden administration, and we shrunk our amount of available dispatchable electricity. That is a train wreck waiting to happen, and the president recognized from the start, we have to lead in AI and we have to stop electricity price rise, and those are not in contradiction. These companies are smart, they're powerful, they're strong, they can build power, partner with them. And that's exactly, all of them embraced it, all of them have spent money to these noble causes, and as we heard, a number of states that have partnered with the people on this table have announced multi-year rate freezes. Indiana's the leader now and the first one filing for a rate reduction. But it is the partnership of these companies and a business focused on government, focused on the American people, that is the transformation. But I could not be more proud to be here. I've got to thank also our FERC commissioners that are here. FERC is a noble regulatory agency that just got bureaucratic and lived in a different time and a different age. We need to make things happen fast.
Could they stand up?
Yes, can all the FERC commissioners stand up?
Because, you know, they're the most powerful people in the country. And I have had more people say, do you know FERC? I said, do I know FERC? What about FERC? And I learned so much about you, and you are the most powerful people in the country. So we want to be very nice to you. Please get us approvals. Please get us those approvals, okay? Thank you all very much. Thank you.
The FERC team has worked hard, smartly, and practically to enable the revolution that's going to happen. America leading in AI and stopping the price rises. Thank you all so much. And boy, one of the other things I'm crazy lucky about is to work as a partner with a guy who has the hardest job in the world and does it with a smile, does it with charm, and does it with grace. Speaker Mike Johnson.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Secretary. Thanks to you all. It's a great honor to be here with the leaders of tech and industry, the FERC commissioners. They are so very important, and all these folks who help all this happen. Look, only President Trump has the gravitas to be able to assemble the leaders of all these great companies in one room, and also to conceive of an idea like the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. This is an idea whose time has come. I think it's going to be so well received around the country because, let's be honest about it, there are concerns that people have had. There's a lot of misinformation out there, Mr. Secretary, about the rise in energy demand and what that's going to mean for our communities. So it is so meaningful to have leaders, the titans, to come in and say, everybody be calm. This is going to be great. It's actually going to be better going forward. Not only is America going to stay on top and lead and be the strong... I
know they're rambling, but let me just tell you guys, I thought this popped up in my head. You know, what about eminent domain with these companies when it comes down to building their power plant? Okay. Are Americans going to lose their homes because of this? That's a great question, right?
Superpower that we are. We're going to continue to lead on AI. We're going to continue to make the communities better. I'm in the state of Louisiana. A lot of this is happening in Louisiana, Mr. President. It's not just a bunch of beautiful pipes. It's also data centers. Meta's doing a big one. And, of course, Amazon's working in Louisiana, and Stack, and so many of the other companies. And our communities are so grateful to have that investment, and also grateful because they're coming in as great corporate partners, community partners, and they're acting responsibly. They're helping to build out the energy grid, and they're making life better, not just with good-paying jobs. They're actually making life better in these communities and in our states, and so we're so grateful for that. I like what you said a moment ago. This is a win-win-win across the board. You have everybody who's come to the table in good faith under the leadership of this extraordinary president to make this happen for the country. It's at the perfect time. Trust is not given by communities and local stakeholders. It's built over time. And I think this pledge is a huge part of building that important foundation for the future. America's back, Mr. President. I'm so excited about that. Excited to be a part of this. Thanks so much for letting us be it. Yeah.
I think we'll go with John. Is that all right? John Houston?
Thank you, Mr. President. In places like Ohio, this is a very, very big deal. I know that you know well that if we want to have economic dominance and national security dominance, we need to have technological dominance. And AI and data centers are a big piece of that. And I know that the American people want to win. They want to win this just like you do. We want to be superior to our challengers like China. We want to have AI dominance because that helps.
Well, I was telling y'all earlier about Queen, image edit, WAN 2.5, things like that.
Needs AI dominance if America wants to win. And I know that you're the leader of the America First agenda. You want America to win. But so do the people in places like Ohio, but they're concerned about energy prices, right? They know that they like those folks out there, the construction trades that build these, the plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC, electricians, the people that build the power plants, the laborers, the boilermakers. Like, these are working people in places like Ohio that do amazing work to build the data centers, to build the power plants, but people just are worried about their energy prices. And what you're offering today with this roundtable with the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, Mr. President, is great leadership because this solves the problem that people were worried about. And as the data centers build new power plants, it leads to energy stability, affordable, reliable electricity for American ratepayers, helping them win the affordability battle that you're leading on behalf of this great team that you've assembled, and I just want to say thank you for your leadership on this.
Thank you very much, John, and I hear you're doing very well in your race. He's running for a very important seat in a great state that I like a lot. It's always been good to me, and it's going to be good to you, and it has been good to you. So good luck with that. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're going to do good. Michael, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You have been talking about this issue beginning as early as the campaign. In July, when we released the AI Action Plan, this was a focal point of the speech you gave. Talked about it again at the State of the Union. So this is a culmination of this idea that you've been working on for quite some time. And the key to all of this is that American AI leadership should never come at the cost of hardworking Americans' ability to pay their electricity bills. And frontier AI that all of these great companies work on every day, along with the data centers that underlie them, are going to accelerate scientific discovery. They're going to unlock economic efficiencies. They're going to enable entire new industries to support the prosperity of all Americans. And to continue to lead in AI, these great companies need to make new data centers. We need new fabrication capacity. We need new manufacturing facilities, and we need new power plants to be able to do all this great work. And today, through this pledge, we are challenging all these companies to think bigger when it comes to data center construction by identifying ways that we can drive down the overall electricity cost, to ultimately strengthen grid resilience, and to create more American jobs in the communities that choose to build all of these data centers. By signing this pledge, all these companies here are making themselves accountable to you, Mr. President, and to the American people as they strengthen their commitment to benefiting the communities in which they build and they operate. We as an administration are using every tool at our disposal to ensure that the U.S. can build and maintain the largest, most powerful, and most advanced AI infrastructure anywhere on the planet. And today we recognize that building the future requires massive amounts of reliable energy. And I'm grateful to you, Mr. President, for acting so decisively to ensure that the growing demands of energy that we have are never passed to the American households. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dina?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's such an honor to be with you today. I also want to thank your outstanding team for partnering with us. You know, it's been remarkable to watch this transformational moment and you positioning America to lead. Our country has had very big transformational movements before, whether it was coming together, World War II, or the Industrial Revolution. But this is different. The next 3 years, in many ways, sir, are the whole game. And those 3 years, while you are president, you have positioned us to win. You have not only made sure that energy dominance is a key to how we will succeed in the compute needs we need, but you've also done something very important. You've made us all know that it's not about the products, it's about the people. And at Meta, we are so proud of the jobs that we are creating, whether it is in
Meta is
Facebook,
y'all. That's
proud
Facebook.
that it's not just extraordinary engineers. It is pipe fitters. It is welders. It is electricians. And I'm particularly proud today to announce that partnering with Senator Moreno and Senator
I totally
Houston,
agree, Rhonda.
we have launched a pilot in Ohio to train fiber technicians, some who are in this audience actually today, a very important skill set needed to build data centers. This 4-week program is a new curriculum. When you graduate, you have a license to be a fiber technician and a guaranteed job with Meta. We are also extremely
And that is a very positive thing about these tech companies. They are offering scholarships and changing lives. Okay, they're changing lives with that. All right.
proud to sign the Ratepayer Pledge today. Also, in Louisiana, as the speaker just said, we have been able to lower the costs of so many Louisiana payers, energy payers, an estimated $650 million over 15 years. So we are proud to say today that we want to fully cover the cost of the energy that we use in our data centers, create jobs and opportunity, but more than anything, sir, we are really proud that we're going to look back and have had the privilege to work with you and know that America won at such a critical time and that we did it really working with the American worker and so many others. So thank you, sir. Proud to be here with you.
That's so nice. Thank you very much, Dan.
I also want to say, sir, I forgot to say it, you know, it was 10 years ago, way before we were talking about AI, that you said there is honor and dignity in plumbers and in workforce skills training, and you asked Ivanka, as you know, to chair that. 10 years later, we could not have imagined how much we needed all of those jobs and those programs, and you marshaled the entire government to do it. That is having an impact in cities across the country. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dan. Ruth, please.
The AI
Thank
need to
you,
replace
Mr.
the motor
President.
in my car.
Google is grateful for all that you and your administration are doing to secure America's continued leadership.
Google
in AI.
is Gemini
And to
and
your point,
YouTube.
It must be powered by abundant and affordable energy if it is to benefit all Americans. I'm pleased to be here to underscore Google's support for the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. We're committed to assist in all of your work to support American households, American businesses in this exceptional era of innovation. So
Oh, Daniel, that's
points
impressive.
how we will deliver on this for Americans. First, adding
I
to
worked
energy
on
capacity,
underground lines myself
consistent with your
the gas
call
company.
to build, bring, or buy energy. We will meaningfully invest across America to bring new energy online, as you have stressed so frequently, to deliver the self-sufficiency that is core to this pledge. In Texas alone, we've contracted to add more than 7,800 megawatts of net new energy generation and capacity to the grid as we grow our data center footprint. And very much to your point, we're committed to continuing to invest to add capacity where we build. And to that end, we will very shortly close on an acquisition of Intersect Power, which is going to enable us to build data centers right next to those new additional power generation capabilities where possible. Second, To protect American ratepayers, we're committed not only to pay for 100% of the energy we use, but very importantly, the infrastructure to support that growth, whether or not we end up using that energy. And I think one example that brings that to life, I recently had the privilege of being in Arkansas with Governor Sanders, and our energy partner there, Entergy, announced that Google's investment covers the full energy costs associated with powering our data center, which contributes more than $1 billion back to Arkansas customers to reduce their electricity costs. I think this is precisely what you were saying we need to do more of, and we're committed to doing that. Third, I get very excited about the topic of workforce development, very much to your point, and the important topic of job creation. Every one job that we create in a Google data center gives rise to an additional 9 jobs in the communities in which we are building that data center. Those are high-skilled construction jobs, electrician jobs, represented by so many of the...
There's a lot of grants out there right now, y'all. So if you want to change your career, Google, Meta, OpenAI, they do have like these grants readily available if you want to look them up, if you want to change your career and get a higher paying job and a career.
Amazing people here today. It's also jobs across the community, in schools, in restaurants, with small businesses. And we announced, in fact, last week that we're providing free AI professional training for all small businesses across America. And given the clear need for electrical workers in America, we're particularly proud of the work we've led to create an electrician training program. And we're committed to train 100,000 electrical workers and 30,000 new apprentices across the country. On top of that, we're excited about significantly growing.
So for a lot of you guys, that looking for a new career, listen up, because I'm pausing the video, but I just want to say this. I myself am into some of the same things that they're talking about. And so I've looked up a lot of these things, and there's a lot of radical, powerful jobs out there that could change your life. I'm talking about $100,000 somewhere like Alabama, okay? Starting at $100,000 a year as a career. You can go about right now contacting some of these. There are so many government programs right now, state-run programs, city-run programs, and also you can reach out to some of these AI providers like Meta, OpenAI, and right now we got Google talking right there. So let's move on.
Growing these programs, we've heard the pledge. Finally, Mr. President, as you said, the American grid needs to be more resilient.
Right.
So we're investing here as well. 2 quick things. We pioneered demand response with data centers. So we, with technology, will move workloads out of the way during extreme weather events to make room for the community. And second, we're applying AI itself to the grid to increase capacity in the grid. So again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for convening us. The benefits from AI, responsibly delivered, are immense for America's businesses, for America's communities, and for its citizens. Thank you again for your leadership on this very important point.
Thank you very much. Doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Gwen?
Mr. President, I want to thank you for your... Thank you. I want to thank you for your leadership. Because of your work on this issue, I'm confident that we will win the race with in AI with China and succeed in delivering inexpensive, abundant electricity for the American people. As you know, XAI builds huge supercomputers and data centers, and we build them fast. Currently, we're building one on the Tennessee-Mississippi state line. As part of today's commitment, we will take extensive additional steps to continue to reduce costs of electricity for our neighbors. Mr. President, we want to be on your team to deliver a big win for the American people. XAI will therefore commit to develop 1.2 gigawatts of power as our supercomputer's primary power source, and that will be for every additional data center as well. We'll expand what is already the largest global megapack power installation in the world. The installation will provide enough backup power to power the city of Memphis, and more than sufficient energy to power the town of South Haven, Mississippi, where the data center resides. We will build new substations and invest in electrical infrastructure to provide stability to the area's grid. We will build state-of-the-art, we haven't talked about that yet, but this is actually quite important. We will build state-of-the-art water recycling plants that will protect approximately 4.7 billion gallons of water in the Memphis aquifer each year. And we will employ thousands of American workers from around the city of Memphis on both sides of the Tennessee-Mississippi border. We will also commit to deploying our AI technology to make people's lives better, creating a period of abundance where electricity becomes cheaper and people have access to the best goods and services humankind has ever seen. Finally, Mr. President, we commit to take these efforts into orbit. We are currently designing orbital data centers powered by the nuclear reactor in the sky. Launching supercomputers into space will mean even more energy on Earth, as all the power plants that we're building now and power...
No, they're talking about launching AI in the sky and have these servers and these AI-powered databases in the sky, literally in space. So that's SpaceX, Rock, all that.
Sources we've built will be available to the communities instead of the data centers. I've been in the space industry for nearly 40 years, sir, and I have never seen things move more quickly than under your administration, so thank you for that. Mr. President, you've been strong and clear about building AI that benefits Americans and benefits American values, including demanding that AI is consistent with American values. In July 2025, you signed an executive order directing agency heads to support only those AI models that prioritize truth-seeking and are ideologically neutral. We fully support that order, and we're fully on board with the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for your commitment.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Would anybody like to say something? We're finished with the official speakers, but we have the most important people in the room and great people, political and otherwise. Would anyone have anything? Please, Darrell.
Perhaps as the California representative here, I can tell you how excited I am about your proposals. First of all of you have major presence in California. And not long ago, I visited the largest site of one that's not here today, Apple. It's in Reno, Nevada, Mr. President. It is 1,700 acres. It goes on, as you said, forever with buildings. It is doing a great job. It is one of dozens. Most of you also have centers being put up in that same neighborhood just outside my state of California. The reason they're there is the availability of power. And the story I just wanted to briefly say that says a lot about the current state versus where you're putting it with the help of industry. They have what you would call huge, beautiful power plants, one after another that they have. They built them for backup because in Nevada they were able to get all the power they wanted, but they built in resilience there. They've only had to run them extensively when California calls and says we're having a blackout. Would you please turn on your power generators so we don't go dark in San Jose, miles away? That said so much to me about the responsibility of these companies already in the past building backup power, but also the need to have the resilience that these plants will create as a result of your work. And they won't be diesel plants, they'll be clean burning plants. They won't be temporary or backup, they'll be positive. Lastly, my state has invested in solar, so much so that we have it to burn during the day. Literally, we burn it. We don't know what to do with it. The ability of these power plants to take solar when it's in excess and then provide that resilience 24/7, all as a result of your leadership. And so, as someone who is from a state that may build less of them, but needs them more than any other state, I want to thank you for what you're doing, because these companies now can be empowered to do a lot more than what they did so far on the edge of California to help California be part of winning the AI race.
Thank you very much. We'll go very quickly. David, please.
Thank you, sir. As I think all of you know here, we have an AI boom going on. We also have a construction boom going on. Just the leading companies in the U.S. are investing $650 billion this year building out this infrastructure. That's a 2% tailwind to GDP, and that is leading to job increases for construction workers and huge wage increases for construction workers like the fellows we got right up here.
Karina Dunn, I was thinking the same thing. California does have blackouts.
Mr. President, we're doing that, and we're protecting residential ratepayers, making sure that their electricity prices will not go up. That's the combination we need. And I just want to contrast it, if I may, with the approach of Democrats like Bernie Sanders. Their approach is just to ban. They just want to ban the data centers. So they want to stop the economic growth. They want to stop the wage increases for blue collars. They want to stop the construction. They want to just stop progress. That's not the answer. There's a much better answer. You have found it, sir.
And I got to agree with that. It's the fact that if we stop AI and we just had somebody just like us says AI has saved her a lot of, gave her a lot of free therapy sessions. Okay. But the thing is, with so much job opportunities out there, it'd be really, really stupid for the government to just shut down data centers in general. Now, there's a question of eminent domain, since they got a government clearance basically to build their own power company and things like that. So will the little people that own their homes and that's all they got, and getting a home these days is very difficult. And owning it outright is very difficult for the average person. All right. So there's two sides. There's an unanswered question about that. All right. Because we do know, like, hey, they got a government clearance to build a power plant. How big is that power plant going to be? All right.
I just want to vouch for the fact that in one of our very first meetings, you did say that you wanted to make our AI companies into energy companies. So that was true. And I remember thinking, that's a really good idea. The president knows more about AI than I do. So this is thanks to your leadership, we're here today. And I know this is something that you've been championing for a very long time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Katie, thank you.
Yes, Mr. President, so this is something that we've not only just talked about, obviously, on the national stage, but we've been talking about and wrestling with in Alabama as well. Look, we understand the need to win the AI race, and you have made sure that America is put first in every category. And that means that we dominate there, and we do it in a way, though, that helps everyday Americans. So when we're looking at their safety and security and what that will ultimately prevail there, we don't want to do it at the expense of ratepayers. And you, once again, have taken an incredibly complex problem that everybody wants to talk about, and you actually found a solution. You found a win-win. We're not only going to win the AI race as a result of what you're doing today, but you have said to every American, to every Alabamian, I see you. And we're going to make sure that your energy cost not only does not go up as a result, but you even said today with the added capacity that it's actually going to go down. In addition to all of that, just want to
So I'm gonna just let y'all know. So like 10 years in the future. So one of the things they're working on with AI, 10 years in the future, they want to basically do what's called quantization. All right. So that's why they're using up all this memory all over the world. So they want to basically have the whole library that ChatGPT 10 years from now just being like this iWatch alone. So you could just have ChatGPT offline on this iWatch, right? So 10 years from now, the iWatch may have something equivalent of ChatGPT, almost a whole entire library of the world put on the iWatch, all right? So that's called quantization. And so it takes a lot of memory to, get that done. That's one of the key things that they're working on right now. All right. So 10 years in the future, we're going to see a lot of advancements in AI and like little devices, like something that's like a smartwatch.
Say thank you to you for being willing to be good community partners. That's what makes all of this work. So the communities that you will ultimately reside in, you are saying we want to build you up in every sense of the word, giving you greater opportunity as a result of this pledge today. So Mr. President, thank you for making sure that Americans were put first and that this progress is not at their expense, but is rather to their benefit.
Yep, that's right. Very quickly, Derek.
Mr. President, I have to tell you something. You're the only person in the world that could put together this coalition. You are the only person in the world. I hope the American people understand what we're talking about here today. You're meshing high tech with the hammer. You're putting these guys with the hard hats with the 100-pound brain nerds. And that's going to That's going to be the future. Sorry. I love you guys. And so, Mr. President, the thing that the American people need to understand is that you're not thinking about an election cycle, you're thinking about the next generation. And what you're doing today by having this coalition.
I totally agree with him on that. AI is the future. All right? It's the future.
Of people is making sure that the future generations, our children, are not going to have to be concerned about losing a war. And that means so much, especially in this time now. If people really take a step back and appreciate this is actual visionary leadership, and it's going to take care long before or long after we're all gone, sir. Your efforts today are going to make America great into the foreseeable future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek. You're doing a great job. Bernie, I think you're okay. You want to say something really fast, Bernie?
Thank you.
He gets my vote. He gets my vote. I have to go back and look at the war. You know, we have a lot of things happening. Thank you, Bernie. You're doing a great job. Please. This is Will Scharf. Go ahead, Will. You have anything to say?
I think it's been pretty comprehensively covered by all the speakers you've had today, sir, but you're going to be signing a proclamation announcing the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. This is going to ensure American AI dominance in the years ahead, while also ensuring that American ratepayers, ordinary Americans paying their electric bills, aren't paying anything more. And along with the proclamation that you're signing, each of the CEOs and industry representatives that we have present here will be signing an actual copy of the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, committing them to your vision for this industry going forward.
Pretty good, right?
And let me say to the press, thank you so much for being here. It was fantastic. After the pledges are signed, if we can have you move out of the room as quickly as you can so we can do a little bit of business. But thank you for being here at this thing. And as you heard, the summary of the Trump agenda is lower prices, higher wages.
Okay, you got it done.
All right. So that's pretty much it, guys. I thank you guys for being here. I will look more into the Pam Bondi thing. I'll just be doing a criminal act if I keep you guys here this long. Thank you for everyone that rocked out with me tonight. Please hit the subscription button, the like button. If you like this, I will be covering the war in Iran soon. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and we will get more into the news when it comes down to our secretary that just stepped down. Okay, so she just stepped down today. Let me take this down. So yeah, thank you guys. I had a great time with you. So I hope you guys feel comfortable. I don't mind you guys even having political fights in the chat, you know, because this is America. All right, this is America. All right, this is America. And I don't mind you guys having your own independent thoughts, because there's a lot of things I personally agreed with when it came down to Donald Trump and his energy bill, or his Ratepayer Protection Pledge. All right. But I do have some questions about home ownership around these tech companies or these buildings. All right. And how is that going to affect people? Since he said these facilities are $60 billion facilities. So that's like city blocks if they were like downtown somewhere or whatnot, right? So we just got a AI building built here in the North District here in West Palm Beach, not too far from Mar-a-Lago where Donald Trump lives. And so it's kind of concerning, okay? I'm kind of concerned whether or not, you know, there's going to be eminent domain with these tech companies. So we just got to know. All right. So Kristi Noem did step down today. So I'll do a reaction upload on that probably within the next 24 hours. I will be live tomorrow to talk more about the war in Iran, Israel's involvement, and things like that. All right. And whatever I feel that's fair as a U.S. citizen, I'll say that regardless of political affiliation. Thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Good night.